What's up, everybody? It is a Blue Drake, and today, after an 8-hour play session of Sea of Thieves, in addition to the countless hours I have put into the beta and technical alpha before the game's release, I feel I am finally qualified to release my official review of the game in its current state and whether it is worth the asking price of $60, or inversely, if you choose to go with the Microsoft Store Origin Access equivalent program of $10 a month, whether the game is worth $10 a month. Now, before we continue, Sea of Thieves is an incredible achievement of a game. No matter how this review goes down, I think it's really important to recognize that there has never been a game like Sea of Thieves before, and it pushes the boundaries of gameplay and game design on so many levels. I think it needs to be respected whether or not this game is worth $60 or $40 or anything like that. The artists that created this game have created something truly unique, and not just created something beautiful, but also created something where that beauty has implications in gameplay that's tightly woven throughout the entire experience. So instead of, say, creating a pretty water shader and then leaving it at that, they made sure that the environment and the pretty water shaders that they created have intricate gameplay impacts that I really think is important to having a great game. So, for instance, you have this beautiful water shader, which is obviously one of the highlights of Sea of Thieves. But depending on whether you're in choppy water, or whether there's a storm, or whether it's raining, or whether you're in smooth water, or all sorts of other environmental factors, this will greatly impact the gameplay. And the tactical decisions you make depending on where you are in the game and what you are doing. And I think that's really important. And I think it's really important to really call to attention that developers put effort into those things when a lot of other developers do not. This really is a unique game that you've never played before and has never been made before. At least not in a way like this, and that really shouldn't go unsaid. Now, with that said, let's talk about Sea of Thieves as a game, and Sea of Thieves as a game that you maybe should buy or shouldn't. Let's start with the positives. Sea of Thieves is beautiful. It is rich with places to explore and things to see, and most importantly, the multiplayer gameplay is something I have been wanting for a long time. The PvP and PvE combination, especially with how freeform everything is, but still feeling almost kind of like a massively multiplayer game, but not being so. It's a really delicate balance that I think that they've nailed. This is one of the few games that almost feels like a role-play experience. You're not going in and playing an MMO and grinding for stats. Like, you're a fucking pirate, you know? And you're meeting other pirates, and you're having really interesting interactions, not just with your environment when you explore an island, but also other players. There is proximity voice chat in this game, so when you approach another player, you can talk to them as if they were an NPC in the game, and they can hear you inside the game. And that led to a whole bunch of really great interactions that I yearn for as a gamer and also as a YouTuber, because I think it's also something that's really interesting for people to watch. So, for example, something that could only happen in this game, me and my crew of 3 other people have a galleon, and what would happen is we would find other ships. And in the live stream, you guys witnessed this, we would actually find other pirate ships, we would board the ship, and we would parlay with them, we would negotiate with them, and ask them to join our pirate armada. And if they would agree, they would come with us. If they didn't agree, we would either destroy their ship, or in some rare cases, if they were nice, leave them be. But after enough of this, we actually got a small armada of ships, of about 3 to 4 ships, and we went marauding throughout the rest of the map, destroying anything else in our path, plundering other ships, plundering islands, just completely decimating other players. And it was really great. It was a really, truly emergent experience. It was something that could only happen in Sea of Thieves, that I really wish would happen more often in games, because I think it's genuine and it's interesting, and it's fun, and it's kind of appropriate for this game. Like, you're pirates, you're out here in the middle of nowhere, and you're meeting other players, and you don't know whether they're going to stab you in the back or if you guys can join forces and go. And it's incredible that Sea of Thieves has actually nailed that, either on purpose or by accident, I'm not sure, but nailed that. And that is absolutely a highlight of this game. Exploring the islands is absolutely a highlight. Getting chests is fun. Fighting the bosses on the different islands is it definitely feels rewarding. And the biggest highlight of the game is interacting with the other players, and fighting with other players is incredible. It's the best part of this game. Now, that is all the positive things about Sea of Thieves. That is all the things that I really think you should take away. The teamwork, the piloting a ship with your friends, and not only that, potentially allying with other players and their ships. This is incredible. It's incredible. That's all the positive things. Now, let's go into the negative things, because this game is not perfect. Well, it's funny. I actually think this game is perfect, but it's not worth $60. It is not worth $60. This game is immaculate. It is put together well. It is, for the most part, bug-free, other than, network issues, or when their servers go down, or they have overloads and stuff like that. But outside of that, there's no serious issues with the game. At least not during my play sessions. It is in many ways a perfect game. It plays wonderfully. It looks beautiful. The gameplay is well thought out and very deeply woven together. So all of these different elements complement one another in ways that are really refreshing. But there's not much of it. That's where we start getting into the negatives. This game is highly replayable, and you have a lot of immersion experiences interacting with other players, but the primary quests and the primary objectives are very basic and very repetitive. There is a few type of quests that you can take on. You can take on a quest where you get an X on a map, and you go to the island, and you dig up a chest where the X is, and you can sell that chest to a pirate outpost. You can also get a map where, instead of having an X, there's a riddle, and you go to a island, and you solve a riddle. For instance, go to the place where there are 3 branches, and then you find a tree where there are 3 branches, and take 10 steps to the left and dig beneath you, and whoa, there is a chest. So you could solve a riddle and get a chest, and then go sell that in an outpost. Or you can also accept missions where you go kill skeleton bosses and return the skeleton boss face to an outpost and make money that way. Or you can also go and find goods like sugars, spices, etc., and sell those to outposts for money. But that's about it. And all of those quests are actually, they feel pretty much the same. You're getting chests, you're taking them back to the outpost, and you're selling them. Why? Well, to get money. Why do you want to get money? Well, to buy new skins for your guns. There's only 4 weapon types in the game. I have not seen any other weapon types that you can purchase. You can purchase skins for your weapon types. There is only, I want to say, 8 equipment types. So, for instance, you have, you can see here you have your pistol, but you also have your compass, your spy glass. Those are equipment types, and you can also buy skins. Or, in fact, there's a good. Here you go. You got your bucket, you've got your lantern, your shovel, your this and that, and all of these items, and then you have weapons. Now, it looks like, at least at the moment, the only thing that you can purchase using the money that you get from these chests are skins for your items. And in what appears to be most, if not all cases, they don't really have any impacts on gameplay. This isn't like Diablo 2 or Diablo 3, where you're finding all of these really interesting items that have all of these really interesting properties, and you're searching for loot and searching for all of these unique things. It really isn't that. You find chests, and the chests don't have anything in them. They're just, oh, this chest is more valuable than this chest. You just find a bunch of chests, and you sell them for money, and you use that money to buy skins for your equipment. In fact, it's actually really odd, and we talked about this during the live stream. This game almost feels like it was meant to be a free-to-play game. Like it was meant to be a free-to-play title, and then halfway through, somebody told somebody that that wasn't happening, and now they've released this as a paid title, but a lot of the half-baked free-to-play models is still there. Because I understand that in free-to-play games, it's important to keep everything as cosmetic purchases. But in not free-to-play games, I think that that shouldn't be the case at all. For instance, in Diablo 3, you want to have all of this interesting armor and gadgets and weapons and stuff that you want to purchase, and you want to get the best of it, and you want to tinker with it and have all of these different properties that maybe make something better than something else, or maybe not better. Maybe they're just different and they serve different purposes, and then you have this wide variety. Like for instance, if you look at Dota, or if you look at League of Legends, that's an example of a game that has a huge bottomless pit of items with unique properties, but it's still built to be balanced and interesting in terms of competitive gameplay. And that's something that I feel like could have happened here and just didn't at all. And if there was ever a game where you'd think that would make the most sense, it would be Sea of Thieves, and yet that's nowhere to be found. There's no interesting customization. The store keeps and the people that you buy items from at the outposts sell really uninteresting items, and it just doesn't seem like there's much of a reason to get chests at all. In fact, quite frankly, halfway through the live stream, we basically just gave up getting anything. We had way more fun teaming up and making an armada and hunting down other players than we did doing any of the quest lines to get any items or quests or trinkets or sugars or chests to sell, because there's not really much of a reason. And that leads me to the next thing. The best thing about this game is the player-to-player interaction. Finding other ships, fighting other ships, finding other players, talking with them, making alliances, breaking alliances, betrayals, having a nemesis, all of those things happened in Sea of Thieves. It was incredible. If you watch my live stream, it was almost like we had our own story arc. It was incredible. We start out as just a 4-man crew. We go out and we find a small sloop with a single guy. We go aboard his ship and say, "Hey, do you want to team up with us?" He says yes. We go out. A galleon shows up and destroys our little friendly sloop that we just made friends with. And we go over and we say, "Hey, what the hell, guys?" And they say, "Fuck you, we're pirates," and they kill us all. And ever since then, we're like, you know what? We're going to destroy these guys. So we go out and we make alliances with other galleons. And at the end, we have this massive battle with 3 galleons versus that one nemesis ship of asshole dudes that we wanted to destroy. And then we completely decimate them. And it's incredible. And it almost feels like all of that incredible gameplay that is the biggest highlight of this game was all on accident. Because there's very, very little gameplay that actually serves player-to-player interactions. Outside of your own crew, there's no missions that require you to interact with any other players. There's no mechanics that allow you to have official alliances with other ships. There's nothing that really takes what I see as the best part of this game and expands upon it in a way that makes sense. It just is this kind of additional thing that was almost thrown in, which is really strange because this game is multiplayer, and that's one of the biggest things about this game is that it's multiplayer, and yet it almost feels like multiplayer was an afterthought, where they were just like, oh yeah, let's make this, and every so often you'll see other players. Well, what can you do with them? I don't know, whatever, who cares? They're there, right? And even while we were playing the live stream, there was so many things that we were thinking of, like, man, it would be so cool if you could go to these outposts and maybe put out like a bounty on other players. Man, it would be so cool if you could, go and accept missions from other players at these different shopkeepers, or really anything, or make official alliances, or have big battles, or anything at all. But there's really no reason. So when all is said and done, you have this game that is incredibly beautiful, with incredible gameplay and incredible mechanics, and is kind of skin deep. And skin deep in ways that I think is, I don't want to say unacceptable, because I feel like they might be doing this on purpose. I know that this game is intended to have a support slash updates, kind of like Rainbow Six Siege style updates for the next, what did they say, 10 years? So I'm sure they have a lot planned. And maybe that's the point. Maybe that's why the game feels bare bones right now, because there's so much under the hood that they've left out of the game that they're looking to include, that they want the first iteration of the game to feel bare bones. Maybe that's the point. They want to kind of like keep everybody on a drip feed. And I understand that's kind of the business model lately. But as it stands, there's really not much here. For instance, this skeleton that you see me kill a couple seconds earlier, this is more or less the only non-player enemy type in the game. There's only skeletons. There's a kraken, and there are skeletons. The kraken is a very rare encounter, and when you get it, it's epic, but it's the same every single time. And then you have these skeletons that spawn almost everywhere. Now, you have different types of skeletons. You have, a plant skeleton, a ghost skeleton, a metal skeleton, and sometimes you have a skeleton boss, and when you kill the skeleton boss, you get, things that you can go sell to buy cosmetic items that you don't really care about. But there's not really any other enemy types besides this one enemy type. There's no other quests besides the one kind of go fetch quest. Even the quests where you're supposed to go assassinate an undead captain is kind of just the same as the rest of the quest. It's a go fetch quest, whereas instead of you going and digging up a chest, you just go and you kill a skeleton, and then out pops another thing that you pick up just like a chest, and then you go sell it. So it's kind of exactly the same. And again, like I said, I understand. Maybe they're doing this on purpose. Maybe it's bare bones on purpose. But if there was ever a game where there's kind of not an excuse to have that little content, it's Sea of Thieves. This game is not buggy. This game is not poorly made. This game is incredible. Whatever engine or whatever systems they have created for this game are obviously very well thought out. And it appears as if the game has been constructed where it would not be significantly difficult to add in additional content. In fact, I really think that that's something they should have done before asking $60. there's only 2 ship types in the game. Apparently there might be one more that you can unlock as kind of like an in-game thing, but there's only 2 ship types. And the ways that you can customize the ships, as far as I saw, were purely cosmetic. I don't think it would be a significant amount of work for this kind of game to make additional ship types. In fact, in this case, the water physics are all done. The cannons and combat systems are all done. In fact, it wouldn't be significantly difficult to just create different types of cannons that have different types of DPS or different types of effects or literally anything. It wouldn't be hard to make different kinds of ships that are bigger or smaller, or maybe have different types of layouts even. I mean, they don't even have to be drastically different types of ships, but just anything other than basically 2 ships. As you can see there's this ship, the giant ship right here, the galleon, and then there's the small sloop ship. This is the 1 or 2 man ship. Come on. There's the small sloop ship, and that's it. And that's really confusing to me. There's only 1 enemy type. There's only 1 type of quest. There's only 2 types of ships. There's only 1 map that I've seen so far. And there's not much else. Even the types of islands that you go to, they're kind of all the same. So for instance, like you go to this island. See if I can find one. And you've got palm trees and bushes. See, like that. And rocks. And you go all the way to the other side of the entire map. And, I mean, there might be different weather. It might be night. But it's all the same stuff. It's the same palm trees, the same rocks, the same bushes. You don't really have biomes in this game. You don't have drastically different places that have their own storylines and their own feel, kind of like Skyrim has, or Fallout 4, or any of these other games that depend heavily on open world, storyline driven kind of environments, which is exactly what I think Sea of Thieves would benefit from, incredibly so. And there's none of that, which is really weird. Really weird, actually. So, in summary, Sea of Thieves is an amazing game. There's just not much of it. I don't know why that is the case, and I have a couple of theories, and my leading theories are, 1, they're doing that on purpose because they intend to release all of the content that they have not released today as part of their ongoing 10-year support program, which is still kind of weird because I feel like that just kind of makes this an early access title, kind of, Like, if you're really going to take that much out of your game in order to, make it a part of your ongoing kind of release thing, that just kind of sounds like early access to me. It just sounds like, okay, the game's not completed yet, and your ongoing support is really just kind of you finishing the game, which is kind of strange. Unless they already have all of that stuff finished and they're intentionally withholding it even though it's already done in order to kind of make that. But that would be even more nonsensical. Like, at a certain point, that's just ridiculous, and I think it's, well, maybe if they are doing that, I would almost say that's kind of immoral, but I have no idea. That's just a theory. Another theory is that this is basically the entire game, and all of the 10-year updates is going to be like cosmetic or other little things that I don't think will matter. If that is the case, then I definitely would. I would buy this game for $20 if if the multiplayer community dies. I would maybe buy it for $10 because the single player is not anywhere near as fun or interesting as the multiplayer, and there's no dedicated servers. There's not even really any matchmaking. There's no way for you to play with anyone outside of the 3 people that you have on your ship. So for instance, you can't have your team of 4 and then meet up with your other friends that have their own ship. It's all completely random. There's no way to plan any of that. So if the multiplayer community doesn't thrive, then this game loses a lot of that value as well, which is kind of a shame. So if this game were to become worth $60, in my opinion, I would say in the next 6 months, there would have to be a substantial amount of content released for it, which I don't think would be really hard for them to do, unless they really don't want to, because they want to like keep everybody on drip feed and make the most money out of as little content as possible. And if that's the case, then okay, but as a reviewer, it's my obligation to say this game needs more content. This game needs more ship types. This game needs more storylines, more quest types that aren't like basically the same thing. This game needs like basically a campaign. I don't understand why this game doesn't have a campaign. I feel like a co-op style campaign fits really nicely with this. In fact, that's basically what I expected. I didn't expect to go into this game and essentially just do the same repetitive quests so I can rank up. I expected to like start a couple of quests and have it unfold into a really interesting single-player style campaign experience, but with multiplayer. I feel like that's exactly what this game kind of should have been. Almost like a kind of like a Skyrim multiplayer pirate themed kind of thing. That would be incredible. Why is that not the case? Or even something like Diablo style, where you have like this, large overarching quest. That would be incredible. There needs to be more enemy types. There needs to be more island types. There needs to be more biomes, more interesting places to go. In fact, I feel like it would make a lot more sense if you could travel into other maps entirely, that have completely different properties. For instance, right now you're in a kind of like a traditional paradise style, world, but maybe you could travel to like an undead pirate world as like one of the top levels or something like that. Again, calling back to like Diablo 2, Diablo 3, where you have like the different acts, would make a lot of sense for this game. In addition to that, the items, things you could buy, it needs to be more than just cosmetic. I understand maybe it's an aborted free-to-play title, and that's why that's the case, but it needs to stop being the case. You should be able to upgrade your ship. You should be able to upgrade your sails. You should be able to upgrade your cannons, not just with cosmetics, but with, in fact, right now, I actually am not sure. I don't think you can upgrade your ship cannons or anything like that with cosmetics at all. I think it's just like the sails and stuff like that. You can just put pictures on the sails. I haven't seen anything else. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But a lot of the things that I would like to see is like, okay, maybe you can have different cannons that have different shot types. Like, oh, you could have grape shot, or you could have like different types of cannonballs, or like a high explosive cannonball, or I have no idea. Or maybe you could upgrade your ship armor so it's not like wooden. You have like steel plating, or it's like reflective, or maybe you have grappling hooks so you can grapple, like things that have significant gameplay impact, so they actually change the way that you fight other ships, instead of you all just essentially going up next to each other and just shooting the same cannonballs, and whoever shoots the most cannonballs wins. I mean, it's a little bit more... To be fair, the ship gameplay is actually pretty great, but it could also be better. A big competitor to this game, Blackwake, has really nailed the ship-to-ship combat. Now, unfortunately, Blackwake is nothing like Sea of Thieves in terms of being like an open-world exploration game with this dynamic, finding other players and this kind of almost role-play-esque matchmaking and immersion. So it's in my mind, they're kind of not comparable at all. But Blackwake does a lot of their ship-to-ship combat that's just way better than Sea of Thieves, where I feel like if somebody like Blackwake, of a small set of indie developers, can think up some pretty basic stuff to make gameplay way more interesting, and in ways that are pretty like inexpensive to do, then Sea of Thieves has no excuse that they didn't do it. There should be different types of weapons. Like there should be like the fact that there's only a sword, pistol, sniper rifle, and blunderbuss. Like, not only should those all be separate items that you can like purchase, not things that, oh hey, I'm just gonna decide to use a blunderbuss today, because basically all ships are automatically outfitted with every type of what you can carry 2 weapon types, and every ship has all 4, so you can switch between them at any time. It's not like you have your own inventory, or one player has a blunderbuss and one has a thing. No, everybody has access to everything at all times. That's kind of ridiculous. Like, I feel like there should be a huge variety of weapons and items. Like, there should be health potions, there should be different, like, I don't know, like, different types of like ale that you could drink that give you different like buffs. There should be different kinds of guns, you know, like maybe a one of those ridiculous looking pirate guns that have like the 3 barrels instead of just the 1. You've got different types of blunderbusses, and maybe you've got like a grenade launcher. I have no idea. Just anything other than these 4 basic weapon types. That's kind of depressing. They have no character, they have no uniqueness. Nobody's gonna have like one of these weapons and say, "Oh man, this is my weapon." Like, look at Escape from Tarkov. Even Escape from Tarkov has all of these different weapons, and then you can customize them with functional parts that really make them not just unique, but also give you like a competitive edge in however you've customized that weapon to be. Why doesn't Sea of Thieves have this? Why not? For a $60 game, that feels like a no-brainer. That feels like a no-brainer. And I understand that a lot of the resources probably went into making this game really fluid and beautiful, but a lot of the things that we're asking for are some of the more simpler things to do. You know, like putting in new ship models, putting in new items and stuff like that. Like, you've already got all of the framework here. You have all of the framework here. Getting somebody to do those last few things is just making more of the same stuff, just making more weapon types, take more models, tweak the DPS, tweak the anything, and make different stuff that have different effects. Should be pretty easy to do, relative to what you've accomplished so far. So why haven't you done it? So anyways, that is my review of this game. It's incredible. There's not enough content right now to justify $60. If they include enough content to justify $60 in the next 6 months, that would be dope. If not, I would wait for it to come back down to like $20 or $30. Or if you want to pay the $10 a month, maybe rent it for basically pay $10 and basically rent it for a month and just play the hell out of it, and then be done with it, because you'll probably never play it again. Unless they add significant amount of content. And for those of you asking me, like, hey, what should they ask to make it, like, what specifically should they add for this to be worth $60? I'm gonna tell you right now, full-blown campaign, like at about the same level as like Diablo or Skyrim. Like, obviously something like that should be in the game for a $60 AAA title like this. Like something with in-depth storyline. Why is that not in here? What the hell? Okay, anyways. A drastic amount of ship types and ship customization. I'm saying, like, you should at least have 8 to 10 ship types minimum. And those ship types should have a whole bunch of hard mounts that should be deeply customizable. You should be able to have cannons that you could swap out with different kinds of cannons that have drastically different kinds of gameplay. I'm talking like, oh, am I going to have a normal cannon or a shotgun cannon, or like maybe a harpoon gun, or like anything like that. Drastic customization for that. You should have drastic customization for your sails, for the hull of the ship, and possibly even the equipment that the ship carries. So like, oh, I could increase my storage bay capacity, or I could increase, you know, maybe get a different type of anchor that drops faster, or a different type of steering wheel that has different effect. Anything. That obviously needs to be there. Your items need to have a drastic overhaul. There needs to be a considerably larger amount of weapons that the pirates can have on hand. I'm talking knives, axes, not just swords. Okay, and these different weapons need to have different effects. They need to look drastically different. They need to function drastically different. Like, am I going to get this giant pirate sword that swings slower, or am I going to get this smaller pirate sword that swings faster? Or maybe I'm going to get this pirate sword that, like, it's like a ghost sword, and when you kill somebody with it, they stay in that, like, nether zone where, you know, they're dead for twice as long. Or maybe I'm gonna get this axe, and when you kill somebody with it, like, it makes a fire spread around their body, like a little fire explosion, and it'll catch other people on fire. Just like anything. Or like different types of guns. So for instance, like, you have a blunderbuss, or you have a blunderbuss that turns people to ice. I don't know, anything. You need to have a drastic amount of variety for items that you can have in the game. That is absolutely essential. And then besides that, I would definitely say expand on the player-to-player gameplay, not even necessarily player versus player. Like, you should have a system where ships can ally and have a reason to do that. You should have a system where ships can be a nemesis, or sorry, crews can be a nemesis and have something there. You should have something where the outposts have some kind of player interaction. Like, maybe when you go to buy something from an outpost, you can buy things that other players have sold to that outpost. That would make sense. It's got a little bit more of a permanence. It's also got a little bit more of a footprint. So you go somewhere and you're like, oh, somebody's been here and they sold this item. Oh, that's cool. I want to buy that item. I'm going to buy that item that they sold here. Or maybe you go to the tavern and another player has put up a bounty against another player, and if you ever find, you know, Suckstick 69 player or whatever, and you kill him, you automatically get 10,000 gold that the other player had put down for if anybody kills that person. Like, there you go. That's a huge variety of essential content that I think would take this game and elevate it to a $60 purchase. 100%. Like, there you go. I've laid it out for you. Bam. Literally take this video and give it to one of your contractors and say, here you go, contractor. Literally make me this many meshes, this many animations, and then we're going to hire our programmer to take our already amazing game that's already been fleshed out, and hopefully you guys have, like, built your framework so it's expandable pretty easily, and then you just have them. I mean, I don't even know why I'm saying this. You guys have probably know this, and you're going to do this anyways, which is why this game is bare bones, and then you're going to start releasing content tiny piece by tiny piece over the next 10 years, I guess. But that's where you need to go. That's my suggestion. If you're going to make this game worth $60, that's all the stuff I want to see. That's all the stuff I want to see. If you don't do that, then, like, look at this win thing here. You could make it so you could have different types of sales that take advantage of this win thing differently. Like, maybe you could get a different kind of sale where the entire ship is slower, but it can take advantage of these wins at, like, higher angles. Or maybe you have one that, like, can take advantage of a wind even if the wind is, like, going against it, like it's a fucking ghost sail or something. I have no idea. But that's just an example. It's an example of the kind of content I want to see. Okay, that's it. We're coming up on a 40-minute video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Don't pay $60 for this game unless you really believe on it. I kind of think the $10 a month thing is kind of a deal, so maybe pay $10 for this game and just play the shit out of it for this month. And then if they add in all of this content over the next couple of months, maybe then buy a full copy then. But besides that, I really don't think it's worth $60, which is a shame, because this game is revolutionary. It really is. This game is revolutionary. It's incredible. It's beautiful. It's amazing. It's never been done before. It's insanely unique, and it's skin deep, which is a terrible thing to say about this game, because it shouldn't be skin deep. Like, the amount of depth that this game could have, and the amount of depth that it even has already with such simple mechanics. Like, the fact that it is skin deep with how deep some of these mechanics are, it's almost like the developers of this game went out of their way to make it skin deep. They're like, it's almost like they made this game and they're like, whoa, holy shit, this game is way too good. We need to tone this the fuck down. You know, like, and they actually went out of their way to make it have less content. because otherwise it was just gonna like blow everybody's fucking brains, and it was just gonna be too good, and like nobody would buy another game ever again. Like maybe that's what happened. I have no idea. But it's just so inexcusable to me that this game has so little content at launch, and it's so incredible. And compared to everything else they've done, you'd think that would have been the easiest thing they could have done, is just literally put in more content. But yeah, okay, all right, that's it. I'm cutting myself off now before I get to the 40-minute mark. Okay, thank you. If you enjoyed this video, let me know. If you have any questions, concerns, disagree with me, don't care, put it in the comments. Let me know. Would be happy to hear. Maybe I missed something. I do that sometimes. I've played this game for a good like 20 hours at this point, maybe more counting the beta and the alpha. I haven't even really measured it, but I feel like I have a pretty good grasp of it. But maybe I missed something. Maybe you guys are gonna be like, "Oh, Blue Drake, you didn't complete the 5th mission, which unlocks the 15 other ships and co-op storyline mode and all of the other stuff that you've mentioned." I don't think that's the case, but if it is, let me know. And then besides that, I will see you guys next time. Okay, love you. Bye.